My name is Juanita. My husband is Mark. He's off camera right now. You will get to see him later on in this video. Together, we love adventuring in our 2006 Chevy 1500. It was a luxury touring van when we purchased it, and we turned it into a vehicle that we can go camping in. In our last video, if you haven't seen that, you'll want to look back and watch that. We did a basic tour of the van and all the components in it. And today we're going to go a little more in depth into the materials that we used in our build, some of the tools that were required to make our build. We're going to go over what it cost us to build it out. Well, every van build is different. Every van build does require tools. The type of material you use will probably dictate the type of tools that you need. We used 80/20, and I'm going to show you the tools that we used. And then when we get finished, I'll tell you how much it would cost you if you purchase those today from a big box store. We also highly recommend that you get what we call a cutoff saw, which is really just a miter saw. You don't need a compound miter saw. Those are expensive. I believe you can buy this one right now for under $200. And then my husband did make a couple of jigs that are important. This wooden one, as you can see, helps keep the 80/20 level when you're cutting it. That's going to be important. You need straight edges when you cut 80/20. This particular jig fits on here, and it allows you to drill holes that are straight so you don't get them crooked. The next thing we're going to go over are the materials that we use. 10 series 80/20. It's 1 inch. This is the 1 inch. We used the 2x1. As you can see here, it's a sanded plywood 1/4 inch, and it fits perfectly in these 80/20 grooves. My husband said if you don't use the right size, it will rattle when you drive. So you have to... Unfortunately, we did not take video or picture of the bed frame before we screwed the boards on, but I will do the best I can to show you how it is built. You can see that we have the toilet box right here. The toilet box had to be offset in order to accommodate the wheel well. So we have a smaller compartment at the back of the toilet box. This 2-inch piece of 80/20 is part of the toilet box / storage area. Next to that is a 1-inch piece of 80/20 that we had to insert to accommodate the legs and the wheel well. Behind that is a 2-inch piece of 80/20 that runs the length of the stationary bed frame. And all three of those are bolted together with two very long, I think they're 4-inch bolts, so that the bed frame, as you can see, when I attempt to move it, doesn't go anywhere. This section slides. It rests on top of the toilet box. It does not rest on the bench because we didn't want the bench seat that high. Attached to the kitchenette is a long metal plate attached at one end of the kitchenette and the other end of the kitchenette, so that when you pull this out at night, you slightly lift and pull, and it fits down into the bottom groove of the 80/20, so that it is really, really sturdy. I'm trying to push it. You can't push it. It doesn't go anywhere. And of course, in the other video, you saw how the cushions fit on to make the bed. This is the back of the bed frame. There's a leg supporting it. The leg has an end cap on it. Otherwise, it would really scratch this plastic piece. There's another leg on this side. As you can see, there is no leg on the side of the toilet box. However, there is a leg up on the other side. This is the underneath of the bed frame. It has support beams going horizontal, all 2x1s, 10 series. Corner brackets are attaching the 1x1 10 series on top of that, the stationary ones. They're attached to the stationary. We just used a bolt instead of using an L bracket or anything like that. This is what it looks like when the bed frame is in travel mode and not in bed mode. And those bolts keep the 1x1 staying on course and straight next to the stationary one. Some of them, they're not all spaced exactly the same. We did that because we realized that we were going to not be able to use a board that was solid all the way across without either splicing it horizontally or vertically. So we chose to splice it vertically, and that's why you see these additional ones in the middle. The garage area is quite large, 52 inches wide, 45 inches deep, and 14 inches tall. We wanted to use jerry cans. That was our first thought, but they were 1 inch too wide for this space. So my husband created these. The gray is for gray water, of course, and the white is for fresh water. Each of them will hold about 6 gallons. These are the indicator hoses for the plumbing. When the water gets up to that level, we know it's time to empty that tank. We have indicators to tell us how much water is left. You can unscrew these hoses and just let them down, this tubing, to empty it, or unscrew the top, take the whole tank out, turn it upside down, and empty it. If we need to fill up with water at a campground or something, we do keep a water hose. We can just pull that out, unscrew the top, and fill it up. As you can see, we have a water filtration system here. That's down to, I think, 1 micron. And this is how we've hooked it up. It goes into there, and the hand pump pumps it out. To have shore power, we installed a 30 amp plug, and the wire for that runs up through the bottom of the van, and then a wire just runs along the side of the wheel well, as you can see, and it comes up, plugs together, and this particular wire then is what powers up all of the plugs on the kitchenette. We have one here and we have one here. The microwave is powered by the 110.
I'm Mark. This is my power supply that I use in the travel van. It's a 12 volt, 110, 10 amps. You can put solar up to it, recharge if you want to. It's small, compact. It's 100 amp hours. This basically does my LED lights, the TV, and a couple of power points in the van. We do not use 110. That's on a separate circuit in the van as opposed to using these. My wife, I have trouble convincing her. She saw this and she goes, oh goody. She can plug in a microwave, her hair dryer, a heater. I mean, you got these plugs here, heck, you can just use them. She doesn't realize this has, a capacity of so many watts. We can plug a microwave in here and use it for 30 minutes. And then it's going to take all day to charge it back up again. So we don't do it unless we're shore power. We do have some solar panels. They do charge. The ones that were on the market, it looked like these were the ones that are going to work the best for us. And the price. All in all, it's done what it's supposed to do. It's small, compact. Take off and go. The car charger charges us back up after about 6 or 7 hours. And then there's a 110 charger that will charge it in about 2-3 hours if we go someplace where they've got shore power. The van itself is wired for 2 different circuits. 110 for the shore power is totally separate from this, and I'm strictly using this for 12 volt DC, but they're 2 separate circuits. So I'm not worried about, if I run this down, so be it, I can still start the car and drive off someplace. But if I run the car battery down, I'm stuck. Oh, the cooler we plug into the dashboard, which plugs into the house battery, but it's got a sensor in it that when the battery starts to get too low, it cuts off. So I'm not worried about it draining the battery. If we're gonna stay there for 3 days and not plug it into this, I'll go out and run the engine for 20 minutes.
These are the fuse panels. They're all attached. Everything is attached to the back of the kitchenette. And as I showed you earlier, all we have to do is unhook the cord coming from the 30 amp in the back from the cord to the kitchenette, and we can take it all out. So what did it all cost? We did the work ourselves. We ordered the materials, we did the planning, we did it all. You'll see the numbers here on the screen. Bear in mind that in the beginning we had a different toilet box and we had a different bed. You'll see that in the previous video. So the cost that I'm going to tell you about will include those in the beginning, but also the new bed. Earlier in the video, I told you the cost of tools, if you had to buy them outright, would be about $1,350. So the cost that I am going to total up at the end of this little session here does not include those tools. You'll have to add that to the total cost that you see on the upcoming screen. $8,019. There may be some small costs that we haven't included, but for the most part, this is what it cost us. That's it for this video. If you like what you saw, hit the like, subscribe, and then the little bell so you know when we put out the next video. In future videos, we'll be going over the cargo box that we built to go to Alaska. We'll be going over our trip to Alaska from the very early stages, the planning stages, the clothes that we packed, the clothes that we took that we needed, the clothes that we took that we didn't need, and all of the wonderful sights that we saw. A lot of people wonder if they can go to Alaska without hiking everywhere. The answer to that is yes, you can. Mark has some mobility issues, and you can still have a wonderful time. So if you know someone who would love to go to Alaska, but they're afraid, just have them watch our future videos and they'll see what they can do in Alaska and not go hiking. Also in future videos, we'll be doing some tips and tricks, and during that video, I'll go over where you can get that vinyl flooring. I'll link to it in Amazon. If you saw something in the video that you want more information about, put a question in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them or point you in the right direction. Thanks for coming along.